Hello everyone. In this video, I'd like to talk about a mineral called scheelite. Scheelite is a tungstate mineral which has a specific chemical formula of calcium tungstate. Scheelite is one of the two minerals that are used industrially in tungsten extraction. The other mineral is wolframite. And to be more specific, in this video, I'm going to introduce you scheelite specimens from the Tae Hwa Mine of South Korea. The Tae Hwa Mine has operated in the 1900s and is currently abandoned and reclaimed. These scheelite specimens from the Tae Hwa Mine are widely recognized worldwide and especially were believed to be the world top class before the Chinese orange scheelites have been introduced. These scheelites from Tae Hwa Mine have a very good size, nice termination, very interesting and characteristic color, and great luster for the species. So I like to show you guys in more detail why and how this scheelites from Tae Hwa Mine has gained their fame. So to start, I like to first show off the different colors of scheelites from Tae Hwa Mine. The most characteristic and well-known color of scheelites from the Tae Hwa Mine is the deep brown purplish color. It's just pretty hard to express in words. So this crystal here is a good example of that color. I'm not sure if it's showing that well in video. I hope I had some kind of flashlight with me to better show this color, but unfortunately I don't. But you can see it looks black, but it's actually quite purple. Yeah, and if you shine a flashlight through it, you can see brown, purple, and for this particular crystal you can also see some red, which actually reminds me of tanzanite. So this color is what the Korean scheelites, the Tae Hwa Mine scheelites, are most well known. A similar color is here. This guy, it also has that purplish hint, which is much more intensified when lighted. And there are some other colors, such as yellow, yellowish orange, like this. Some brown. Nice specimen. And some are a bit more yellow, like this guy here. And you see there's another scheelite crystal here. There you go. You see the shine. So that's colorless. Yeah, and also I like to show you this guy. This guy has a pretty interesting color. It's hard to explain this color. It's like a coffee, I'd say. Yeah. So the most famous color is, as I mentioned, a purplish brown color, but there are much other variations such as yellow, orange, brown, colorless, and so on. And next, I'd like to show you about the associated minerals of Korean scheelites. So since it's a tungstate mineral, and as I mentioned, there are two widely used tungstate minerals for tungsten extraction in industry, and the other one is wolframite. So wolframite actually is quite a common associated mineral for scheelite from this locality. So this particular specimen, this part is highly seriously damaged, but you can still see the luster and the octahedral pyramid of scheelite. And next to it, you can see these tabular, should I say, wolframite crystals shooting out. Now, if you just forget this side, then it's pretty aesthetic. Yeah, so wolframite is one common associate. And the next one is calcite. So this guy here, it's a floater scheelite from Tae Hwa. And this orange-white mass here, this crystalline mass, this is calcite. And calcite is commonly associated too. And some scheelites from Tae Hwa has this white patina, should I say, some coating on it, which I think is pretty cool, even though it kills the luster you would expect from scheelite. And the next associated mineral is quartz. Obviously, quartz is everywhere. These are multiple quartz crystals grown on the scheelite floater. You can see the octahedral bipyramidal crystal form of scheelite. Unfortunately, these two faces are the only lustrous faces, but the others are pretty well covered. And also, have a look at this guy here. This guy's like a tree or a lollipop. You can see this purple scheelite is grown on top of this quartz crystal. So you can see the quartz base is here, and the scheelite is covering the top. And at the back you can see some wolframite. You see this metallic luster here. That's wolframite. It's a pretty cool cluster, a nice thumbnail specimen. So the last associated mineral I'd like to show is fluorite. This is fluorite. Nice cubic clusters. Maybe just crystal, not exactly a cluster, but so if you shine UV, it's pretty difficult to see with the lights on, but you can see the fluorite fluorescing. Pretty cool piece. Yeah. So these are some known associated minerals with scheelite from Tae Hwa. Now let's have a look on some features of scheelites from Tae Hwa. So what I like to point out is the characteristic double growth, should I say, pattern. Some people think it's epitaxial. I think it's just a double growth, primary and secondary growth of scheelite. So this particular specimen you see here is the best example, in my opinion, to show the double growth habit of Tae Hwa scheelites. So you can see the primary crystal, the primary growth scheelite is the base. It's this mass is all scheelite, and you can see it's pretty dull. And this is, maybe there are some junk patina minerals on there, but what I believe is this is dull due to some kind of etching, micro etching as you can see in bonitoites. So it's kind of dull at this phase. And then Scheelite has grown again, secondary Scheelite. And since there is the primary Scheelite on the base, this provides the seed and the lattice for the secondary Scheelite to grow. So that will lead to these parallel growth habits of the secondary Scheelite you can see here. Yeah, so it's not technically a epitaxy because these two are same minerals, but I think in a broader sense, you can also consider this as an epitaxial growth. Yeah, so primary growth, secondary growth. And this kind of pattern is very, very common in Korean Scheelites. And in most cases, actually, the secondary growth just covers the primary growth. So it's actually not so common to see some kind of intermediate state like this one. So I don't have it here, but because of this growth pattern, the primary core part is usually yellow from Tae Hwa. And the secondary growth part is actually usually purple. Yeah, so I don't have that sample here, but so in some instances when that's very well preserved, you can see the yellow core and the purple outside shell. So it's like a phantom, I'd say. And it almost reminds me of those Elmwood fluorites. And those are some very high quality Scheelite specimens. Sadly, I didn't bring. Yeah, so like it looks like this from the outside, but like if you shine light through it, in some samples you can actually see the primary yellow growth in the center, which is not case for this sample, but yeah. So this kind of secondary growth, this double growth pattern, is also seen in this sample. At first glance, this may just look like a seriously damaged Scheelite, but it's actually not that damaged. I think this side is contact, it's not technically a damage, but so if you look here, you can see, so if you see these edges of the secondary growth pattern, so this lustrous part is the secondary growth part. It's not like grown as well as this sample, but so if you see the edge, if you carefully examine the edge, you can see these edges are all parallel to the terminations of the Scheelite crystal, which means this is a secondary growth pattern. It's not just a randomly damaged Scheelite crystal. And this part of this white mineral is just some kind of junk mineral coated on it, which is, I'd say, somehow common in Tae Hwa Scheelites. Yeah. It's also a pretty nice specimen. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it of introducing what characteristics make the Tae Hwa Mine Scheelites so interesting, I'd say. And now I'd like to show you my specimens shown here in better detail. I show you this one. So this particular piece, I think I haven't showed long enough. So you can see this Scheelite has this mica grown at the base. So this Scheelite would have grown on top of some kind of mica plate. And this is actually very common for Scheelites, not only in South Korea, but many other localities such as China. So except for the space and this damaged side, the specimen is pretty well preserved, I'd say, with some wolframite and chalcopyrite. And this specimen here, it's also a Korean Scheelite. This is one of my favorite specimens. It's very well sized, well preserved, lustrous, a little bit damaged on top, but that's how it is. You can see this specimen also has these mica grown on the base. So this crystal would also have grown on top of some kind of mica plate. And it's like removed. So this specimen is a textbook example of what Korean Scheelites look like. This characteristic purple-brown color, this bipyramidal crystal with a luster. You can see some side parallel growth crystals here as well, with some modified edges. Pretty uncommon for Scheelites. Yeah, it's an excellent neat example. These guys I've shown. Let's look at this guy. This guy is not that large. Actually a pretty decent size for a Scheelite, but in respect to those guys, it's not that large, but you can see the termination, the luster, it's just perfect. And I believe this base is just contact. Yeah, so you can also see characteristic striations and parallel growth patterns. So this guy, as I showed, this is a floater. And if you use a flashlight, pen light, this guy also has that characteristic purplish brown color. But fortunately, it's coated with this white junk, making it lose its characteristic luster and color. But still, it's a nice floater, well sized, and neat calcite crystals grown together. I think it's a pretty nice specimen. So these I've shown, and let's have a look at this guy. So this guy is the biggest Scheelite crystal I have here. Its length is over 7 centimeters. So you can see this specimen, I think it's a quite unusual specimen for Scheelite, because you see the crystal faces are pretty diverse. It doesn't have it not only has the basic 4 faces we'd expect for a bipyramidal Scheelite crystal, but it has some other faces, like this here, face here, this face here, this face here, and these are all modified faces. So at first glance, it doesn't seem to have that ideal pyramidal, bipyramidal crystal like this. But instead, it's like a cluster of so many Scheelites intergrown together. And some are slightly out of parallel, so it shows some different faces. And the color is also quite unique. It looks brown. It's not that purple brown color, however, it's more like a honey golden color when you shine light through it. Yeah, so it's pretty neat specimen. You can spend all day looking at these modified edges. Wow, what's that edge coming from? Wow, where's that edge coming from? There's a small pyrite in there. It's just so much to see within this crystal. Now let's look at some specimens. So first, this guy here. This guy is a very nice example of scheelite grown on matrix. There's a big wolframite here and here. There's a scheelite crystal here with, I have to mention, the great, well preserved sharp edge. I might cut myself here. Unfortunately, this part is a bit damaged, but I guess that's okay. And in the back, you can see these tiny scattered scheelite crystals. I'll show you how these fluoresce in shortwave UV later in this video. These look very, very beautiful. I think this is a epimorph of some, I think it's quartz, not so sure, but I think it's an epimorph. This is calcite and dolomite. So it's scheelite, wolframite, quartz coated with calcite and dolomite with scheelite crystals grown on top of it. It's a pretty nice combo. And this specimen here, it's a great example of a quartz and scheelite specimen. So this smoky quartz has beautiful calcite crystals going on the point. The point is a bit damaged, sadly, but it's okay. And you can see, I'm not sure if you can see well, but there are phantoms inside here. Yeah, right around here. A black phantom. Nice brownish purple crystal of scheelite. Pretty aesthetic. It stands well itself. Also trimmed pretty well. I like how the sample is displays. You can see it just displays like that. It's beautiful, beautiful. Quartz in the center, and scheelite has some kind of point to add to this cluster. Now the last specimen I like to show is this guy here. This guy is also one of those specimens you can spend days after days finding new features, new characters in here. So there are these cubes which are limonite after pyrite. Some quartz crystals, however, unfortunately this quartz lost its head, but it's okay. And there are scheelite everywhere. Here, 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 here. Some minor wolframite association. And I also really like this color. It's not like those deep, intense orange from Chinese scheelites like this one. It's not intense like this, but I think this mild color, this pale color, is also pretty appealing. It's also the specimen stands well itself. It's trimmed pretty well. Not as well as that specimen, but It's also pretty aesthetic, and what I like the most is how this orange Scheelite just stands out of this white quartz background. I like to show you how this Scheelite fluoresces under shortwave UV. So let's start with this specimen. It should show off so many Scheelites. See? Killer piece. It's all Scheelite. Can you believe that? Wow. And if you look closer here inside the quartz, there's a Scheelite crystal. You see that? Here. Yeah. I've never seen a Scheelite crystal in quartz. I think this is a pretty neat example of it. Let's see the sample as well. So in the front, yeah, that's all Scheelite, as you'd expect. But the best part is the back. Look at that. Wow. Can you believe it? Wow. All those tiny crystals are Scheelite. They shine like crazy. Unbelievable. And all these other fluoresce very well. Yeah, and this is why Scheelites are so highly sought after. For people who collect fluorescent minerals. Yeah. Very beautiful. So this is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. Thank you, and see you in the next video.